James had been shunting trucks in the marshalling yard behind the big station. He had been there for weeks and complained endlessly to his long-suffering driver and fireman. "Dirty trucks, dirty sidings," he growled. "Frivolous tasks like this shouldn't be the responsibility of a fine locomotive such as myself. Why couldn't the Fat Controller send Boko or the Scottish Twins to do it?" "Stop your complaining," replied the driver crossly. "You should be grateful that you are working at all. You could very well be standing on an abandoned siding turning to rust." After this, James's complaining subsided. "That's a very good point. But it would be a nice change. I've been shunting this yard for the last 3 weeks." The driver and fireman had to agree. Some days later, the Fat Controller had come to the yard to see James. "Now I understand that you feel you need a change of scenery," said the Fat Controller. "Yes, sir," gulped James, worried that the Fat Controller would be cross. But to his surprise, he was smiling. "I couldn't agree more," he said. "In a few days, Doc was due to take a rail tour along the Little Western, but he will be occupied with other duties. So would you like to take his place taking the rail tour?" James was delighted. "Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Of course, sir," he beamed brightly. "I won't let you down." "I know you won't," chuckled the Fat Controller, and he walked away. That evening, as the small engines were returning to their shed, the small controller was waiting for them. "This year marks a very important milestone in our railway's history, and that of all the railways which run across Sudbury and Land," announced the small controller. The engines were perplexed. "What is it, sir?" ventured Rex. "This year," continued the small controller, "will mark 70 years since the first of the Thin Clergyman's books was published, but also it will mark 48 years since his book about our railway, Small Railway Engines, saw publication." "Oh yeah, I remember," chuckled Mike. "Bert gave the Fat and Thin Clergyman a shower to pay them back for splashing him in mud." Bert went red with embarrassment. "Anyhow," said the small controller, "a film crew from the BBC have asked to film a documentary about our railway, to which I have given my full consent and blessing." The engines all whistled in delight. Doc will be delivering the film crew to Arlesdale Station tomorrow. The engines all promised to be on their best behaviour, and the small controller went away to make further arrangements. The next morning, James arrived at the big station. The platform was crowded with passengers from one end to the other. "It will be a real treat for them to run behind a fine red engine such as myself," sniffed James smugly. "Come on, get in quickly, please," he whistled cheerfully. The passengers boarded, and James set off. When James arrived at Arlesborough, he could see a group of people setting up cameras and other filming equipment. "What's going on here?" James asked Duck. "They are here to film a documentary about the Arlesdale Railway, as this marks 48 years since the Small Railway Engines was first published." "Pah!" snorted James. "Why on earth would they want to waste their time making a documentary about these little mites? This year marks 70 years since books about us were first published. Why can't they film us?" Duck didn't reply. He thought it would be a waste of steam arguing with James, and he puffed away, leaving the red engine to sulk. After they reached their destination, the announcer briefly interviewed Duck and his crew, and then the film crew set up their cameras outside the small railway sheds. It wasn't long after Duck left when James came in with his rail tour. He looked enviously at the small railway engines being filmed and interviewed. "That should be me," pouted James. "Oh, stop your complaining, James," said his driver severely. "That's just the way things are. Now get over it." James started to make a plan to steal the spotlight from the Arlesdale engines. "I'll show those Verowe engines that I'm worthy of the spotlight and not them." And so, James whooshed steam loudly from his cylinders in order to attract the film crew's attention. "James, what are you doing?" scolded the driver. "I'm just clearing my cylinders," James replied sarcastically. And indeed, he got the film crew's attention. "Look at me," called James proudly. "Now a fine crimson engine like me is worth filming, don't you think?" "No, I'm sorry," said one of the crewmen, "but our director wants a documentary about the miniature railway this time." James fumed crossly. "That director of yours really has you under the thumb, doesn't he?" he hissed. The small controller had organised a special train made up of the original 3 engines of the railway, so Rex, Mike and Bert were all coupled together. And with a deafening blow of their whistles, the cavalcade puffed away. "See you later, James," called Bert. "Sorry you couldn't get any screen time." James's face went as red as his livery and covered himself in a large plume of steam. A few weeks later, the small controller came to see his engines. The documentary aired on the BBC last night, and I must say you all did a fantastic job showcasing our railway. I am very proud of you all. "We owe it all to the late Thing clergyman," said Bert. "If it wasn't for him, our railway and the others on this island wouldn't enjoy the healthy flow of tourists and enthusiasts we do today." The small controller and the other engines couldn't agree more.